Let me guess. You've watched all these YouTube videos telling you how S-Log3 is the best picture profile. It is. And it's gonna make your videos look amazing. So you went out and you filmed all this footage and maybe even got the exposure correct. Came home, uploaded all your footage. You even thought ahead and bought this amazing LUT. So you go and slap it on and it looks like the walls start crumbling around you as you see your dreams of being a videographer slowly disappear. How do I know this? This is actually my story. That's why in this video, I'm gonna save you weeks and months of beating yourself up and show you how to color grade S-Log3 without using LUTs. Hold on. So before we jump in, don't panic. So I can imagine you're probably feeling stressed or frustrated because you spent this money on LUTs that didn't work and it's just not as easy as you thought it was gonna be. I've been there, I've done that too. But don't worry, it's not that difficult. I'm gonna walk you through a few easy steps that work. This isn't gonna be the Bible of color grading, and we're not gonna get into the scientifics of it all. This is really for someone who wants to know a little bit more about the basics. Just like you, I've watched tons of YouTube videos on color grading, and I've actually started a business as a photographer and a videographer. This is not my background, I didn't go to school for this, but my clients really like my work. That's why I wanted to share this with you to let you know that it's possible. So hopefully your stress levels are beginning to fade. So are you ready to jump in? So let's set up our workspace and then work on our exposure. It's kind of bright. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to set up our workspace for color grading. So what I do is you go up to Window, click on Workspaces, and click on Color and Effects. And so you're going to see over on the left-hand side, these are your scopes. We'll be focusing on the Luma Waveform today. So I want you to go up to View and click on this second option here. And so that shows us the Luma Waveform and our vector scope. So your Luma Waveform is a visual representation of your highlights, your mids, and your shadows. So you can see this Luma Waveform is really compressed. We want to stretch it out. So you can see the numbers on the left-hand side. We want to keep all of our information in between 0 and 100. 0 represents your shadows, with 100 representing your highlights. If we go below 0, we start to lose information in our shadows. If we go above 100, we start to lose information in our highlights. So now that we're set up to color grade, the first thing that we want to do is fix our exposure. So I go up here and I click on this little triangle called the color inspector. Click on this icon, and you want to select color boards. And so you see these 3 circles. The white one represents your highlights, the gray your mids, and the black your shadows. If you notice on the Luma Waveform, when we push up our highlights, you can see them start to stretch. And so we want to bring those up to just below 100. Take our shadows, bring those down to 0. Adjust our mids as needed. Do a little before and after, easy. So next we want to adjust white balance. Perhaps we didn't get the white balance correct in the camera, so now is our time to do any corrections. So I go up and I click on a color wheel, scroll down a little bit to temperature. If you move this icon to the right, it adds more yellow or warms up the image. If you move it to the left, it adds more blues or cools down the image. You can hit reset here with this little arrow. And so I think this image looks a little warm, even though it looks nice with that sun coming in. I'm just gonna cool it down just a little bit to about there. Tint will help you correct any added yellows or blues to the image. If you move it to the If you move tint to the right, that's going to add magenta. To the left, it's going to add green. I'll just go ahead and reset that. I don't think I really need to adjust this much. I think 1 is perfect. So I think that looks good. Next, we want to add saturation. So we're going to go back up here and click on Hue Saturation Curves. I go to Hue versus Sat and toggle this up. And you can see it's starting to look more realistic now. I'm starting to get some of those warm woods, some of the blues. You can start to see the sky coming through. Toggle this on and off. It's really starting to get rid of that S-Log grayness. Next, we want to add contrast. So I click on color curves, and we're going to work with this Luma curve here. So the right side is going to adjust your highlights, the left side your shadows. So what we want to do is right around here, by clicking on the white line, we want to push that up, and then over here towards our shadows, we want to click on it and pull this down, and then you can adjust the mids as needed. And so what we're looking for is a really nice S curve. So next we want to add our LUT. I thought you said you were going to show me how to do this without LUTs. Well, I did, and I have shown you, and this looks great. Your clients would be very happy with this. Okay, cool. But we don't want our clients just to be happy, do we? No, we want them to fall in love. Oh. So now and only now do I suggest using LUTs, because now you have all these layers to control and you know exactly what each layer does. So you want to open your effects browser, and down in the search bar I type in LUT, and then I'm gonna grab custom LUT and put that right on top of my clip. Go back to your video inspector and you can see custom LUT right here. So here where it says none, you toggle down and this is going to show all your LUTs. So I'm going to select this one here, and that looks wild. So all you want to do is bring the mix down. And that's just the strength of the LUT. About there looks good, I think. So you can see how that LUT is really adding a level of richness and depth to the image. And so now all we have to do is copy and paste. So with your color graded clip selected, you want to hit Command C, select your clip that you are copying to, hit Shift Command V, and you see this dialog box with all of your effects that you are pasting. So you can simply deselect anything you don't want to paste over, but we're going to keep all of this information and hit paste. And then I always make minor adjustments here. So I'm going to turn the LUT off and I'm going to go to my color boards. I think we can bring the highlights up just a smidge, not much, because it looks like it's already peaking in that one tiny area. We can bring the shadows down a bit. I think that looks pretty good. I think everything else looks fine. So I'm going to go back and add my LUT, and that looks great. Easy. So we're going to do that with our final image. It looks a little dark, so I'm going to bring up my mids. I'm going to go back and add my LUT, and there you go. Now that wasn't so bad. Keep on practicing, and eventually you'll start to see improvement, and this will all become second nature for you. And if you'd like to improve on your gimbal moves, watch this next.